So today I'm going to walk you through our lesson plan, which is our final exam, and I'm going to explain the elements that are found in our lesson plan and justify the activities that we included in them. So let's start. Our LC is EN9LTIA14, which is Analyze Literature as a Means of Discovering the Self. So this lesson plan is English for grade 9 students. Our objectives are, at the end of the lesson, the students should be able to A, identify the message of the poem through analysis and recitation, B, manifest camaraderie through group activity, and then C, create their own poem about life. So we made sure that our objectives are SMART being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely or time-bound. So it's specific because we included the activities that will measure whether or not the students have really accomplished our said objectives. And then they are measurable because, of course, the activities will have rubrics that will measure them. And then they are achievable, and then realistic and time-bound. So they are just right for the time and the level of the students. They're not too low, and they're also not too high for them. So we also made sure that the 3 domains will be present in the objectives, which are cognitive. So we have here identifying the message of the poem. This is a cognitive, and because it's through analysis, then of course that is a higher order thinking skill. So that's it. And then we have affective here being manifest camaraderie through group activity. This will also touch teamwork. And then psychomotor is creating their own poem about life. So creating or writing their own poem is also part of the higher order thinking skill. So we have that. So let's proceed to the subject matter. The topic is a sum of life. The concept here is that A Sum of Life is a song by American poet and educator Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And the poem describes the purpose of life and how one should handle the sorrow and struggles that come with it. He was also the first American to translate Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, and he was one of the fireside poets from New England. So language or grammar focus here is fluency and reading comprehension, but also their listening skills. So the values here are development of communication skills, and the reference of this lesson plan is a grade 9 textbook. So let's proceed. The materials. The materials here are visual aids, handouts, pictures of, the picture here is actually the picture of the author of the song, and then the blackboard and chalk for activities. So right now we proceed to the procedures. And then so we have here a classroom routine. There will be a prayer, greetings, attendance, and then a review of the lesson of the past day. So the teacher will ask, what was our previous lesson? And then the next is we have the activity. So forming a circle, the class will sing the nursery rhyme, row, row, row your boat. Why did we choose that song? So I'm going to explain that later on after the activity part. So the students will pass around an object. So for example, maybe this tumbler, and then they will pass it around while the song is being sung. So when the teacher says stop, then whoever is holding the object will answer the following questions. So we have here, what do you think is the message of the nursery rhyme? And another, what does life is but a dream mean? Or what is your favorite song and why? And then another is, what is life for you? And then lastly, what do you want to achieve when you grow up and why? So those are just some of the questions that the teacher can ask the students if they are the ones who are holding the object. And then the rationale for choosing row, row, row your boat is because it can be linked to the actual lesson, which is, as you know, the A Psalm of Life. It's also about life, and row, row, row your boat mentions life without actually revealing the content of our lesson. So it just says, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So there's life is but a dream there. And that is also mentioned in, that line is also mentioned in the poem that will be presented to the students. So if the students are keen enough, they can maybe guess what the lesson or the poem is about just by analyzing that nursery rhyme. And so the follow-up questions are really connected to the lesson in a subtle way. So that's it. And then we have here our analysis. The teacher will ask the following questions. Number 1, what is our activity all about? Number 2, are there things you have learned from your classmates that you did not know before? And number 3, do you personally agree with their answers? So of course, because the teacher will be giving questions such as what does life is but a dream mean, that will require the students to answer it in their own perspective, or what they think about it, what they think it means. So there is really no right or wrong answer in it. And then of course the activity will also urge students to answer what is your favorite song and why. So of course, if the students will know more about their classmates by the questions or through listening to their classmates' answers. So that's it. And then we're going to analyze it. So one creative way of expressing our ideas and feelings is through songs or poetry. Long or short, they carry our ideas and feelings. There are songs that we love because we can relate to them, or that they give us happy feelings and inspire us. Sometimes we read sad poems and feel the sadness between the lines. So, without having to reveal what is in store for them in abstraction, then the analysis will kind of trigger, or not really trigger, but maybe excite the students what they think is the lesson, what they think the lesson will be about. So that's the purpose of analysis, and that is what we were going for. So we have here the abstraction or the lesson proper. So the poem will be read by the teacher out loud. So because it's going to be read by the teacher out loud, the students will have to listen, and then they will also be given handouts of the said poem. So of course they will also have to read. So that's both reading comprehension and listening. So let's read the poem A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. What the heart of the young man said to the psalmist: tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still, like muffled drums are beating, funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle. Be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present. Heart within and God overhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our life sublime, and departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's sullen main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. Okay, so that is the end of the poem or the song. And then there will be a discussion following that, so the teacher will discuss the poem using the following guide questions. A. How many characters are in the poem? B. What are they talking about? No, letter C. What does the lines "Dust thou art, to dust returnest" was not spoken of the soul mean? And then D. The fifth stanza mentions bivouac, referring to the first line of the fifth stanza. What do you think does it mean? Letter E. What do you think did the author mean when he wrote, "Be not like dumb, driven cattle, be a hero in the strife"? What does the lines, letter F, what does the lines, "Let the dead past bury its dead, act in the living present" mean? So, letter G, what do we feel when we think of celebrated men and women from various fields? Think Taylor Swift, Miriam Defensor Santiago, Albert Einstein, and Steve Jobs. Letter H, do you have heroes you look up to and inspire you? So these guide questions, they are very varied. They are not just strictly or directly about the poem. They also require the students to analyze not only the contents or meaning of the poem, but like link the poem into real life. For example, when we ask about what they think about famous people like Taylor Swift, Miriam Defensor Santiago, and all that famous people or celebrated people, they will tell their answers, and then we also get to know if they have such heroes in their life. So heroes doesn't just mean the superheroes, of course. These mean the people that they look up to or that inspire them. So that itself actually touches the affective factor. And then they will the activity or the question and answer recitation will also actually require the students to explain or touch into their affective factors. So we have here a recap. The recap is the teacher will ask, what is the central message of the poem for us? So the central message there is, of course, the students will answer, and then they will be given time to explain their answer and all that. But the central message of the poem here, the teacher will, of course, wrap it in one thought, which is, we must make the best of every day. Death is not the end goal of life, rather the limit. Every day we must strive to make our lives better and make others' lives better. There is so much in life that we have to enjoy, and in comparison, we only live for a very short while. So we have to make every day or every single day count. And then if life is a battlefield, we must then be the heroes and act according to what we think is right, even if it makes us different from the rest. So all the great people are simple people who has achieved great things, and that means simple people can achieve them too. So like the songs that inspire us, we too must inspire other people in our own little ways and leave our own marks in the vast world. So we can only be very little, but we can do so much. We must continue to better our lives every day, accepting what fate has in store for us and learning how to work hard and be patient. So let's proceed to the application or the group activity of this lesson plan. The class will be divided into 5 groups. The students will determine the lines that will match the message, which are included here, and then explain why they paired the two together. So essentially, the activity will require them to find these ideas, which are: number 1, leave your mark on people by inspiring them. Number 2, act now to make your life better. Number 3, we do not live only to die in the end. Number 4, forget the sad past and live in the present. And number 5, there is so much to enjoy in life and so little time. So these ideas, they're going to determine the exact lines in the poem that refer to these ideas or translate to these ideas. So they will have to reread the poem again and then scan it and find the lines that contain these meanings. So 4 is we have our assessment. So assessment is sum it up. Directions here are on a 1/2 sheet of paper. Let the students answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the message of the poem? A, sorrow, grief and pain. B, happiness, joy and peace. Or C, encourage hard work. Number 2, what does the author mean in the line, for the soul is dead that slumbers? A, the soul is sleeping and will not wake up. B, the soul will soon die. C, death is a sleepy soul. Number 3, we have, who wrote the poem? A young man. B, an old man. Or C, a wise and learned man. So number 4 is, what does the author mean in the line, let the dead past bury its dead? Letter A, what has passed should be forgotten. Letter B, dead people should be buried for tradition's sake. Letter C, we should learn from our mistakes. And number 5, last number for this sum it up quiz, we have, according to the author, how can we live our own sublime life? A, become an inspiration to others. Letter B, leave a mark of kindness in other people's lives. Letter C, be other people's hero. Or letter D, all of the above. So we proceed now to the last part of our lesson plan, which is the assignment. So the assignment is just which is the part where they apply what they have learned, and they will use their higher ordering thinking skill, which is creating. The assignment is, on a 1/2 sheet of paper, create a poem about life. You may take some lines from the poem and expound it through your own poem, or create an entirely new one. So when the students take some lines of the poem and then they expound it, they're actually just taking inspiration from the poem. But if they're creating a new one, then of course that's creating. That's a higher order thinking skills, and it's very important that we include higher order thinking skills in our activities, even if it's just in the assignment part. So that's actually everything. That's all in our lesson plan. So yes, that's all.